Justice for all. We'll start with a motion to approve the minutes of our September 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Go right to resolutions. Start with HS1. Resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services, Division of Mental Hygiene, to accept additional OASIS state aid and amendment to OASIS provider contracts. Lee, would you like to speak to that?
You want me to speak to that?
Or
Sure, Nicole, you can. Yeah, so there's three budget amounts, but this one in particular is always needs additional ways. The target inflationary increase now, so the increase, 2.6% increase effective April 1 with the state budget for funding, matching funding. So this is mostly passed through. There's a small portion of it that is applied to salaries, expenses, and those actual divisions. So 36,319. We pass through contracts, existing contracts, car and family services, OCO.
Can I take a motion to discuss, please?
So moved.
Second. Okay. Any questions for the department? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 2, HS2, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services, Division of Mental Hygiene, to accept additional OASIS state funding for jail-based services.
Yes, this is new money that the state is providing to the jail expense for medication-assisted treatment for incarcerated individuals with opioid use disorders. That's been all those medications have been expense. This is for particular FDA-approved medications that they provide you $12,524 when in November 21. So we have to budget. So it's about $6,262.
Perfect. Take a motion to discuss.
So,
Second. Okay. Any questions or discussion?
No.
Instead fine?
What percentage of people in the jail on a given day, it can fluctuate, I understand that, requires treatment?
I don't have the specifics information. They'll have to ask the sheriff's department, jail administrator about that. But because this program, participation in this program is voluntary for people in custody, I do understand that there's probably around 15 people who are currently participating in the medication program. But as far as how many people are coming in and the percentage that have an opioid use disorder or could be participating in this, that I don't know.
Now, let me ask you this, let's continue on. This person, Joel Smots, is in jail, didn't treat, whatever. When he's released, what happens then?
It's kind of up to Joe, but he'd be referred to local services. In Prince William County, most likely, that's going to be part of their services. So unless he's under community supervision and mandated to participate in that treatment, he may or may not follow it.
All right, let's go down a bit further down the road. Joe Smots gets released from the camp, whatever the case may be, or Sally Struthers, or whatever. If he ends up back in jail again, do we redo this again? Or we say no?
The treatment, the medication-assisted treatment
Talk a
program,
little louder.
the medication-assisted treatment, we do, yes, have to. You're required, if someone's eligible to participate in it based on the doctor's assessment of their substance use disorder, you're required, Jen's required to offer it.
That kind of doesn't make sense to me. I still can add and subtract product out. That doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Okay. HS3, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services, Division of Mental Hygiene to accept additional Office of Mental Health state aid and amendment of OMH provider contracts. Sure.
So this is very similar to the first one. This is targeted inflationary increase from the New York State Office of Mental Health. Portion of this would be passed through for the increases to provider contracts, 74,435 to be exact, which would be for contracts with BARDA, OCO, Liberty, ClearPath, Charity, and Municipal Health. 3,705 will be retained for this partners and offset the cars to share.
Can I have a motion to discuss, please? A second? Okay. Any questions on this discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. HS4, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services to accept additional HEAP administrative funding. Like this one. There you go.
So our HEAP administration funding, when it comes from the state of New York, they originally allocate 90% of it. And then once all the dust settles at the end, they give us an additional 10%. So this is the additional admin money that they give to offset from our last year. So a portion of that will go towards our contract with the Office of the Aging, that they assist us with the aged and disabled population, and the rest will offset the admin costs.
Make a motion to discuss, please. Motion. Thank you. Second? Okay. Any discussion or questions on this? Legislative Buck?
Gigi, you've done this for, when God was in the state.
I'm not that old.
No, but I am. The thing is, there used to be a program, don't know if it's federal or state, I can't tell you that, where a company will come in, big battle souls, Helco did one of my old shacks I rented, and they went through with and insulated it and all that good stuff. Are those programs still in place?
So that's weatherization. That is federally funded. We do not administer that. The Peace Agency used to have the contract for weatherization. There's a lot of changes at the federal level this year with the HEAP funding. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like for 25-26, but it's something I can look into. We used to have to do referrals to weatherization to have them come in and assess. But that funding is iffy for this year.
Now, what was it, percentage-wise, what was the percent you said that went up?
So this is just our final 10% of our allocation that we're getting from the government.
Okay. And is this taking into consideration cost of, for example, like fuel oil? I just bought a bunch of off-road diesel because I sold farm it like this year. But anyway, fuel's high. Natural gas allegedly went up. I don't know, I don't have any. All I have is electric. My electric didn't go up and my delivery charge went skyrocket.
Yep.
Is this gonna offset that, or is it gonna decrease a lot of things, or are we gonna come back, are you guys coming back looking for more money in 3 months?
So this money is for administrative costs. So this only covers the staff.
Just a sec.
Correct. The other funding is a separate allocation we get. That's program dollars. So we just give that money as program dollars and then it's reimbursed, but that's not part of this. This is our administrative funding that we get.
Now, is that money used for raises, or did we get the department fully staffed, or?
We bring staff back every year seasonally to cover the HEAP program. So that money is used to pay for those staff.
So you have people basically working part-time in the HEAP program?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, do you have any trouble finding people to do that?
I don't, because they come back every year, the ones who like to come back. I have the same people that come back every year.
That sounds great, and why can't we get people to come in and become social workers or wherever the heck all these different titles are? I'm sorry, I don't know what they are. All I know is they work in the palace in Mexico.
But we're doing a lot better. I mean, my team is only down to a few vacancies, so we really have done great, have made great strides in staffing levels. So it just takes time to train them.
I hope I live long enough to see it fully funded.
Me too.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? Okay. All in favor? All opposed? Perfect. HS5, resolution authorizing budget modification, Department of Social Services to transfer funds from overtime to additional hours.
So this resolution asks DSS to modify its budget to accommodate overtime and additional hours needed for caseworkers and support staff with high caseloads and CPS economic supports and child support overtime ensures mandated tasks like application processing, case reviews, and child safety investigations are completed on time. It helps the department stay compliant with state time limits requirements and avoids penalties. This is budget neutral adjustment because overtime is offset by state federal reimbursements.
Take a motion to discuss.
Motion.
And second? Okay. And I see this is only $1,087. Any questions or discussion?
Find the places to transfer. For health.
What do you mean we couldn't find it in the budget to transfer it?
No different line items.
That's what we're doing.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Any questions? Great. All in favor? Any opposed? Perfect. HS6, resolution authorizing the execution of an intermunicipal agreement with the Oswego City School District concerning the Legends Field complex. And I think we have Mr. Stahl here. Do you want to speak to this item?
I'm sorry, before, I didn't
Sure.
have a walk-on. Do I need to do that now?
We can do it at the end.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. I just wanted to be here to answer any questions and kind of introduce this conversation here. So as you all know, we have been investing out at the Legends Field complex. The county legislature set aside $2 million to turf all 6 of the infields. We have seen an incredible explosion of use out there. We had, Kyle or Brian, if you want to correct me if I misspeak on any of the actual numbers, but we had residents of all 9 school districts utilize it this summer. We have had little leagues playing there all summer. We've had school districts playing there. And obviously the tournaments have been exploding out there. We're averaging somewhere between 1,600, 1,700 visitors every weekend for I think they have 14 tournaments this year, is that correct? 13? Proposed. So anyway, I've been excited. This opportunity has to do specifically with the school districts. Although there is a benefit, I think, to the tournaments, this specifically is for the school districts. So our current outfields on all 6 fields are not large enough for the varsity teams to play. And so the Oswego School District is very interested in renting long-term our fields for the 6 to 8 weeks that they need them for their girls softball and boys baseball games and practices. And so this project would remove the current fence, what's that?
This is just the contract.
Well, it's an important part of it too, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So part of why this contract's so important was that that's about somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 project. So Oswego School District is agreeing for a 5-year contract, $25,000 a year to use these fields, which is going to be $25,000 of our project. Some questions asked me about the longer term part of it, and I did get permission from the school board to share that they are not looking to build their own fields. They would look to do this long term, but the 5-year contract was looked at by both entities as a reasonable first contract. It's about a $17 million project for the school district to build their own softball, baseball stadiums. And as you know, although that would be, some of that funding would come from out of Oswego County residents, the state does fund a lot of that. It would still be taxpayers funding the entire project. And so the school board has said that they, if they were going to go to a referendum for $17 million, it would be for additional improvements to their school buildings, and they don't necessarily want to invest that money right now into a huge project like that. So this contract, although it is only a 5-year contract, the expectation would be that this is a long-term, probably at least a decade, if not longer. I would hope it would be much longer than that plan. So Rich has reviewed the contract language.
Department's moving the fence out to accommodate those.
Yes, and so ultimately that project that you'll see in the capital project max resolution is moving the fence deep enough so that school districts can play there.
I'll take a motion for discussion.
So you
Second. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Stahl? So,
I believe you're only talking about one field like Senator Defense Act, just one, right?
Yes, I would say currently this project would just be for one fence. It would go from 275 to 350 feet.
there's not going to be any scheduling issues with all the demands on the fields?
That's a great question. So
That's a headache that, you see the spreadsheet that Kyle created that goes with it. That's just Oswego's proposed schedule. Last year, we had games running doubleheaders in the evening. We've talked to a couple other school districts about if we're able to get Field 5 varsity ready, that, Kyle, you can interrupt me if need, but they're willing to practice later and play later if need be. Some of these districts are desperate right now. There's 3 of them that you could say are kind of homeless for baseball right now. And to add to what Tim had mentioned, I was actually on the school board from 2017 to 2020. We actually approved baseball fields but they don't have money for it because the cost of everything, as Tim mentioned, for them just to repair the schools, going out to the community and asking for $17 million to build a baseball facility, it's probably not going to happen. So we are looking at, it's kind of, we every day hear, what do you have, what can you offer us? And I think we are growing almost to capacity, right? I mean, we're still seeing, and Kyle, correct me again, we're still seeing Legends use today, 2 or 3, 4 days a week between softball and tournaments.
Yes.
So men's softball, co-ed softball is playing up there 2 nights a week still, and then we have tournaments still happening on the weekends. So you're seeing the fields being used, and SUNY Oswego club comes in there. We've had people use it to rent it out for other opportunities. But the big thing we can't do is we cannot accommodate that varsity age group currently. That I think Mexico tried it, but it was a lot of home runs.
6 home runs.
So it's difficult to ask the other districts to buy into that. But that's like the one thing we really can't do right now. Other than that, we've juggled scheduling. We've done everything possible, and we're seeing that it's being delivered. We're delivering what needs to be, but that one piece is missing. The school district, I think, is investing. They're all in, understanding our vision and wanting to be a part of that. Oswego has, and they're doing, within our power, everything. They've been great. The new batting cages are up, so we're able to offer. We've talked about before. Kyle's looked at saying, okay, I got every field occupied, but another team can practice by being in batting cages. That's all a big piece too. So, and then you flip, and then the other team goes in the cages as well. And the athletic directors are willing to work together because they're points in that group. So it's there, but that's the one piece. But going back to the school district part, Oswego's been a great group to work with. Kyle communicates with the athletic director pretty much daily during the season for changes and what, I think we can share what's the cost for these schools to travel with.
Well, currently, Mexico and Fulton, the other 2 schools, they're open with us sharing that part of it. They're paying anywhere between $250 and $350, and that's not transportation costs, to rent their home games in Cortland or at OCC.
OCC's 500.
Yeah, so
we're trying to offer, as been asked, the community an option, but this is the one thing we just cannot do.
Great. Any questions?
Tim, on this agreement with OCSD, or City School District, does that give them an exclusive right to that field for a time, or how is that? What's the logistics of?
Yep, that's a great question. And it is something we work very closely with them. What we've always said is it's preferential. They have essentially earmarked the times they need it for, but it's not exclusive. And so it's Kyle's job and Brian's job to make sure that they fully utilize the fields when they're not being used. But they do have preference. That's it.
I would say I could speak to that a little bit. So I start out with this document. It's all 6 fields. Their practice schedules are published online ahead of time. That's fine. As well as all their game schedules. So I go in, I input every single date that they possibly could have throughout the season, and then I I guess, redact from there. So I can see every vacancy every day of the week, and then we fill from there with rentals. So I think probably all school season long, Mexico, Pulaski, somebody rented the vacant fields. So I've worked with every AD directly to accommodate that and make moves.
I think it even comes to flipping schedules that in our group text, there's Tim and I, who's going to shut the lights off at 10 o'clock tonight, because somebody's got to play a game, a doubleheader, they're 5 and 7, so the game's running, but that's the demand they're willing to pay for because they have no one else to play.
Brian and I have also stopped in and cleaned the bathroom out one night as well.
Well,
We're hoping not to do that every
Tim, I 100% support this because it is a gem to the county. It's also a good revenue source. The better we make it, the more demand it should be. You're absolutely correct. Most school districts, their fields are old. I know Phoenix is older than old. And it's in the mud. It's a great thing. I just want to see us do it right. If it needs more expansion to improve it, yet continue keeping the coffers full. And that's what we got to do.
That was my question, Mama. Are you at capacity now?
We have room if we're clever. By clever, we have to take scheduling, and Kyle has to move things around. And like I said, there could be double headers, or there could be games being played after games.
Yeah.
But we're pretty close to capacity.
Right now, and moving ain't just changing one. Is there a possibility of changing some other? Here.
Well, one of the conversations, when we first turfed the infields, one of the conversations was always, well, it should have been nice to be the outfield. I think that makes sense. You have an infield that is pretty much bulletproof. You can play, as long as it's not lightning out, you're going to be there. The outfields could use a little bit of work, right? They're 30 years old. The drainage collapsed at least 20 years ago. So could there be investment at? What would the return on investment be? That would probably something else for us to put together.
You're looking at, I think you have the Schedule A of the proposed schedule in there. They start St. Patrick's Day. So if the snow is clear, it's good. And the turf is usually clear, or there's ways of doing it. We figured out how you melt the snow on the turf. Put black garbage cans out there, that smells all out. The whole thing. But point being is the outfields are all that you wait to be ready, but that time-sensitive piece there's a window right now, because if not, if you say, okay, we'll break ground as soon as the spring happens, well, the season starts as soon as spring happens, and then you run into issues. But we do our best. Last year, as we know, it's very wet. So that becomes a look at that schedule and you say capacity of flipping it all around once you have to. But Kyle's spent many hours going about doing that, and the teams have been pretty receptive to understanding that, okay, everybody's schedules are messed up, how are we going to do it? Even SUNY Oswego was our last year for girls softball game because their fields were not playable, but our outfield was not quite up to par. The umpires, the two teams are ready to play. When you say capacity, we're working it. But have we had to turn people away yet? I think we have, for because of schedule.
100%.
Yeah.
Any other questions, discussion? All in favor?
No.
Cool.
Yes. I think what's happening out there is what we hoped it would happen. Everybody come to play and it's worked. I think the complex or the team here, that you're keeping that place busy. And that's what we wanted, the whole thing at the beginning. Make it work and you guys should.
Even when you look at the whole piece of it, because I know it's, yes, you're a piece of it, but the faces of the adults playing up there who have not played softball with Sligo since 2019, they look like a bunch of kids. Their faces have smiles around to here, and they're not used to playing on turf, thanks to that. They're super excited, and that happens in one night a week to now they're what, two?
Twice a week.
Twice a week, and they've already said to Kyle, we'd like more next year can accommodate. And they're they're very flexible. They'll say, okay, you have a schedule happening till 6 o'clock on this day, we'll start games at 7 if you allow us. I mean, they're very flexible, but they're paying the price, so that's more revenue coming in that we're able to generate, or on nights where it's not being used with scheduling, we can look at that and try to fill those gaps. That's what that will help.
Anything else? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Great. HS7, resolution establishing capital project number 1225, Legend Field Outfield Extension Project.
So we talked a lot about this. One thing I will say is that, so there is a bid that is out right now. It's been on Thursday of this week. Our expectation is, as Brian has mentioned, we've kind of got a small window to get this done. Because of the grass regrowing piece of it, we need to have it done this. It's going to get done for next year's baseballs. So the hope is, Thursday, the hope is that we will have a bidder that falls within our price range. We put right in the words of the bidding, it has to be done this year. So obviously it's a little bit better committee. We expect to see that completed by the end of November. That'll give it a whole winter and early spring grow season. Hoping it's not going to be quite as it was last year. That's right.
Take a motion to discuss. Second. Any additional questions? Discussion. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. You said we have a walk-on?
Yeah, so in your packets, we provided a copy of HS 8. So, oops, sorry, it's after the stats. So this is for a contract attorney. We are, as you know, we've experienced persistent vacancies throughout 2025. We had a couple of unsuccessful RFP attempts. We would like to contract with Mary McGowan. She's an experienced family law attorney to provide immediate coverage and family family court, and support the transition of the legal team. We did just recently hire a full-time permanent attorney, Corey Callie. So he started today, but he does need to be trained. So Mary McGowan will assist us through this transition through the end of the year to get him up to speed. Melissa is our attorney who's been out on maternity. She's also returning this week, so I feel like we're in such a better place. We can actually take a deep breath now that we have this, but we do need Mary to come on and help us and assist us for 9 weeks, I believe we put in here. And she's very well known at family courts. She's very experienced, so we're happy to have her, and I'm glad she's with us. So we're asking for her contract to be approved.
Make a motion to discuss. I'll second. Any questions or discussion on this item? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That concludes the resolution. We'll move on to reporting department.
Chairman?
Yes.
Chairman? We also had a bid that
Oh, okay.
that
It's not on the agenda.
wasn't on the agenda, it's not on the agenda, but I think I spoke to Holly, and she said that it should have been sent out there. Regarding the vehicle, before the last legislature meeting, the committee voted on us purchasing a van. These are the bids that came back for the van.
So we'll put that up for review. Don't believe it needs a motion to discuss, but if you want to just describe it, then we can take a vote on that.
So the Office for the Aging is its own ARPA funds. And we saved most of our funds for the renovations to outfit our dining center and the computer lab and everything. We have some money left on the table that really needs, well, not really, it has to be spent by tomorrow, September 30th. And when we've been out in the community as part of our public hearings, one of the things that we hear time and time again is that we don't know what services the Office for the Aging provides. So we've been going out more and more in the community at public events, presentations, and as part of that, our staff use their own vehicles. So we have pop-up tents, we have tables, we have chairs, we have all of our literature, but we also distribute, what we don't distribute, it's been an issue to get durable medical equipment to loan out to people, so wheelchairs and walkers. We also have 6-foot suitcase ramp for someone who has 1 or 2 steps so that they can come home from the hospital and get into their home. And utilizing our staff, if we have vehicles, their personal vehicles, or requiring someone to come to our office to pick it up. So we want to take our ARPA funds that we have and purchase a vehicle to be able to address both of those. And on the off chance, if we ever have to fill in and do deliveries for home delivered meals, if one of our contractor staff volunteers call out and they can't get the meals to a senior building or in the community, we also be able to utilize that using our staff, using that van to go out and make deliveries.
Any questions on this? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Perfect. Now we'll move on to reporting departments. It's like we're shaking it up today, and we're going to start with social services.
Okay. Ready to sleep early today, okay? All right, so administrative and staff development updates. DSS participated, Gidget and I went to Stronger Systems Greater Impact training hosted by ICANN. As part of this training, we completed the capacity roadmap worksheet and an organizational self-assessment. This training provided valuable insight into the connection between strong internal operations and mission success. It also validated that the direction we're pursuing as a department is the right path forward. We complete that training tomorrow. We have another second half day. ICANN is a nonprofit organization that provides all different kinds of services as a nonprofit. They are known for their ranking in the top 5 for employee satisfaction. So I was very eager to connect with this organization to kind of understand what kinds of things with regard to their culture that they've done, to see if there are things that we could bring back. So I don't know, did I leave anything out, Gidget? Was there anything that you'd want to talk about that? So we're going to attend the second half of that tomorrow. So I'm excited to get the second half in so that we can bring that back to our team at DSS with all of the changes that we've had. I think it's important for us to focus on that. Fiscal and finance updates. The finance division is entering a positive transition phase. Michelle Conley has been hired as the new senior accountant and will begin October 13th. In the interim, Cheryl Rocks continues to provide support and will remain involved after Michelle's start to ensure a smooth training process and continuity of operations. The division continues to make improvements in overall operational functions, strengthening accountability, and building long-term stability. Labor management meetings. Labor management meetings are continuing with a renewed focus. We are moving away from day-to-day operational topics and realigning the discussion with the original purpose for supporting collaborative communication in matters of mutual concern related to the administration of the agreement. Integrated service economic supports. Applications and caseloads have stabilized with seasonal adjustments. Fraud prevention and program integrity efforts generated $138,000 in August savings and more than $814,000 year-to-date. Staff development also continues with promotions and vacancy reductions, strengthening the workforce. I would also like to provide some EVA analytics. So from 9/1 to 9/25, she managed 3,502 calls. The total duration in hours was 54 hours and 43 minutes. So she's doing a fantastic job. We do have a meeting scheduled, the 3rd, October 3rd, so Friday, with TIPCO. They are going to come in and talk with our team out at DSS about other operational opportunities for other departments as to what people could be doing for them. In addition to, there'll be a second meeting, I believe, with Phil and IT and some other department heads in the afternoon that they're gonna do in person, so they're flying in to talk about other divisions and how they can also benefit from what EVA has to offer us. Did I leave anything out?
No.
No?
I'll be at the meeting in the afternoon.
Yes, Gidget's gonna go because she's really taken the lead on this. And she was on it before I started, so she's been gracious enough to continue to do that for us. And so I think that they're gonna be looking at what kind of value add type things that we've been able to get out of EVA to the other departments so that they can see what kinds of things, that there's an investment there for the other departments. The Child Support Division has collected $9 million year-to-date, an increase of $343,000 compared to 2024. Staffing improved with 3 new hires, so yay. Reducing the overall vacancy rate to 17%. Importantly, 92% of collections went directly to the family, so that's really important for them. Child Protective and Family Services, 20 children have already achieved permanency through adoption this year. A new foster parent class began September 9th. Staff continue onboarding to address vacancies in CPS and Family Services. DSS supervisors have also strengthened partnerships with schools to improve collaboration and better support for children and families. Adult Protective Services remain stable with 41 active cases and 438 clients receiving representative payee services. The unit currently has no vacancies, ensuring continuity of services to vulnerable adults. Mental Hygiene Division. This division has submitted its local services plan to state agencies, ensuring compliance and setting priorities for the coming year. Work continues on implementing precision care with improvements to reporting underway. A housing rehabilitation pilot contract was terminated due to provider hiring challenges and funds are being reassessed for allocation. The division also notes an emerging need for additional community supports for older adults. Several resolutions, as you heard earlier, were put through on behalf of the Nicole's division. Was there anything you wanted to highlight on those topics, Nicole? Okay. So that is DSS.
Question, the housing rehabilitation pilot, that is for just residential repairs?
No, it's a housing rehabilitation intensive case management program, so it's helping obtain and maintain permanent housing.
That's terminated?
Yeah, okay. So what our plan for that is to, we're unable to staff it. So the pilot final housing program and the starter fixes. So we are looking to, we're going to be looking to see if we can identify some existing housing programs that are already set that we might provide some enhancements to, instead of trying to, because the workforce is higher challenges.
What is that in the fund? How much?
I think, well, was a year, it was almost 2 year contract.
Because you reallocated it to other uses?
Yes. Yeah, it's a combination of state funding and opioid settlement.
Any questions? Legislator?
Under your child support portion of your dissertation, what is the percent of people paying their child support versus what is supported?
Percentage of people paying,
They're not paying, I don't care.
not paying, or paying.
Anything else?
Does the social service have direct communication with all 9 school districts? They have a problem. You got somebody that works with the districts.
Yes, her name is Diane
Godfrey.
Godfrey. So she is kind of our liaison. We are making some changes with regards to, we're disbanding the quarterly meeting that we typically have with the superintendents. And we've invited them to our CPAC committee meeting. We feel that, it's better served there so that we're not duplicating our services and information. So we have invited them to the CPAC meeting to be able to get updates and information. But Diane had created a guide that has all of the contacts for escalating if the schools have questions. So they have our contact information if they need to get in touch with somebody out at DSS.
I know there was a problem in the beginning with the Mexico School District. They were complaining they didn't have good communication.
Yeah, and so it's been really nice. We did, when I first came on, Sarah and her team had made arrangements to go out and do meet and greets with all of the school districts, and all 9 school districts did that. And then again, we did that again this year. Only 4 us, but really positive feedback about improved communication. Were there
Mexico was one of
and
them. Yeah.
Mexico was one of them. So I think overall, having the escalation path for people at the school district and having this guide updated has helped with their communication, being able to get somebody. So I think that was part of the disconnect, that they were calling and no one was returning their call.
We even call it a safety net because we want them to be able to escalate it. Our numbers are on there as the
Yes.
directors, so there's always a way to get a hold of us.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to Pietro.
Okay, I'm going to give you a copy of my director's report from our board meeting last week. I'm going to highlight you a lot of information from Camp House final numbers, scholarships, Camp Zerby numbers. We work with the Oswego Build pre-apprenticeship program, and they last week built a new archery shed at Camp House. That cost us nothing, and it was a great opportunity within our community to, with the apprenticeship, to buildings and grounds and others working along with city BOCES and workforce put that together. You've heard a lot about Legends. You'll see a list of the tournaments and things that happened out there this year, picture of the new batting cages that are up. A little bit of information about our summer programming up there, the adult softball program that we mentioned earlier. We hosted a kickball tournament up there, and that was part of the AmeriCorps project and what we did to end the summer, and it was really well received. It took 7.5 hours to finish the tournament, so you can imagine how many kids are there for it to take that long to complete. But going along with that, you'll see some info about Camp Zerby, some things we have going on up there. Today at Camp Hollis, the last step of the CFA that we received to winterize Camp House, the electrical work project is starting today. That's the final piece of the grant that has been on hold for a year based on different things between the grant and buildings and grounds. So that'll be happening and we'll be complete with that. Our youth council is underway. Like I mentioned before, I chair the Central and Southern Tier region, and then they threw a whole bunch of other counties in for us. I have 18 counties that have the state right now, so that's going. Our Youth Leaders in Action program, I'm going to send this flyer out. We are still accepting new students within the program. This is the group that I would eventually like to report to you. Meaning to you is this is the group that I would like to have at your disposal if there's information working with the schools that they can do so to go back and gather data, do whatever necessary to go along with. So this is a flyer you can distribute to pass out to go forth. Our Leadership of City County Youth Program is going strong right now. You'll know about our reading programs. We have a new program at Camp Hollis. It's called Fall Camp. The flyer is right here. It just started last week, but it's a 9-week program. It goes at Camp Hollis and Legends Fields. All the information is on there, how to sign up, everything along with that you can go with. Our new AmeriCorps program will start November 1st as we go forth on year 29. So we'll be working along with that. Working with SUNY Oswego again. We had a men's soccer game last week, and we'll see our next event is the women's soccer game. So there's information we can share there as partnership with the college. Our trunk or treat is coming up at the Speedway. We have thousands of kids come to that every year, so that's a place we're looking to, you can distribute for kids to come, or if you want to be a vendor yourself, you can do so. And lastly, we are accepting applications for mini grants right now. Up until November 3rd, you can apply for up to $1,000 to do what we like to say is a project that maybe you're not budgeted for. Not that I haven't heard anybody here today talk about anything they're not budgeted for, but if you were, you wanted to do something, that would be great to get $1,000. Not how you want to use it, but if it's youth related, you can do so. And I'm sorry, lastly, I'm going to send this around very small and print out. I wanted to have this young person here. Yes. Kyle printed all that. The last thing is I wanted to have this young person here today. Some of you may recognize her in the photo. I came across this student at the high school last spring when I went through one of their nights that they had, this open house. And as I got talking to her, we talked about what do you want to do and where you're going and things like that. And it's really into the arts. And so I talked to her about different things and how we might work together. From brainstorming between the two of us, you're going to see that if you're familiar with Camp Hollis, she recreated the Camp Hollis logo out of glass. It's all, I eventually want to get her to come to a meeting or a lunch meeting to have you guys really see what this looks like. Beautiful piece of art. It'll probably be there for 100 years because it weighs about 100 pounds or more. But anyways, that's about it. We've been pretty busy with different things happening, and we're moving forward from there. So.
Any questions?
Yes.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Ryan, one of these pieces of paper you set out, this one here.
Yep.
Kind of weird, but you spend a lot of money on paper.
I build the city.
You better get to.
Yeah.
That's something.
He does. He does.
Working with peers in your community.
Yep.
How are these peers chosen?
So, meaning the students or the peers? The peers would be, so, say for example, my friend Gidget at ESS wanted to come in because she was working on a project and wanted to get some young people input or wanted to work alongside with that. Then we would find out exactly what is it you're looking to do. If it fit the mold of what we're doing and is appropriate for what we're looking to do, then we would set that up to work along with that. You know, whether it's suicide's been a hot topic. So if there's something along the lines of suicide, or as we go into the holiday season, with sandwich for seniors or things to that matter, these young people can do things to help Sarah collect things or go out into their communities or make arts for seniors, whatever it may be. It's really the need of what we feel is happening in Oswego County and how we can connect these young people to realize that they can make a difference. They can talk about things that are happening, and then they can contribute to our.
All right, now we're back into this again. How are these peers chosen? Who chooses these peers?
They apply, and they have to get permission from their school. So their school has to sign off on it because they're going to miss a half a day of school. So they have to have their principal sign off on it that they're good with everything.
And do we, or somebody, have background checks on people, who are these people?
My staff is the staff working at Sevitra. And then the people coming in, a lot of times when people come in, say for example, if anybody is familiar. Jerry Geiger came in recently. If you know anything that's been around for a while, Jerry Geiger's been in Fulton School District for how long? 100 years. I mean, forever. Jerry is Jerry. So that goes back. A lot of times the information is given to like me to pass along to my staff. So physically, the person, like say Sarah, may not be at the actual class. She may pass on the information. If not, we will look to make sure they're not coming from just anywhere. They're coming from an organization, and it's happening at City mostly. So it's not like it's being left to be unsupervised. Any of the work is being done in a classroom setting at City.
Yeah, 'cause my concern is making sure, we don't have some nutcase in there.
This program is very similar to one that I ran forever ago, which was Youth Advisory Council, and outside work is really done among the students. There's likely no interaction from any group unless it's an organized group. So if the Prevention Coalition wanted to be involved, they may staff somebody to go there. Like I said, if Office of Aging wanted to do a project, and maybe Sarah's staff there. So it would be vented to that matter. If DSS wanted to work along with that, they would have, I'm sure, whatever staff that they trust to be out in the community. We won't just leave it to be where, we've talked about that before, trust me. I ran after Rich before where we might have partnered with a college, and exactly like what you're saying is, how would that work? How do you know a college kid should be with a high school kid? So I understand your concern, but we're ahead of the game to not have anything like that.
All right, backing into you mentioned about AmeriCorps.
Yep.
Again, how will you want to?
You can go to our webpage and you can, which part? How do you apply or how do we vet?
How they are vetted?
They have to go through a background check. At federal, don't even get started on that. That's.
Well, I gotta get started on it. because
No, what I mean is the federal government's made me real thrilled this week when I received something from them. They have to apply their fingerprinted background check. If they start a minute before that's cleared, you will be fined. So anyways, that's how that works. So they have to go through a whole background check. I mean, even the fact that I can't go to the Oswego County Sheriff's Department to have them fingerprinted, I have to go to the federal government tells me to go to the service.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but my point being is I think we could trust the Oswego County Sheriff's Department, but their federal government wants us to use their pieces of it. But yeah, they go through the whole background check and they can't start until all of it is clear. But once it's clear, then we got it. What else?
Well, you and I can spend hours talking about. You are going to bring that subject up again about the seniors, are you?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, actually, I will speak to the next piece. We got the seniors going next, I think.
Okay.
I'll go last.
We'll move on to Veteran Services.
So, Legislator Aaron, I wanted to let you know that the Williamstown Honor Society actually sent me an invitation to that event, which was very nice. I was very appreciative of that. We will be attending. It's a Revolutionary War Soldier dedication on October the 11th, and they're doing it in Williamstown, Pineville, and Dunwoody, correct? Unfortunately, I won't make the luncheon because I have a wedding to attend, but I will be there that morning for those dedications. And that's important because as a generation of veterans start to pass away and they start to disappear, they're no longer represented, so they're no longer recognized as often as they should. So for them to have a Revolutionary War Soldier dedication is pretty. And I know the Legions are working on identifying all of the veterans that are located at all the cemeteries in the county so that we can have more of this. So we can have each one of these people identified. I've kicked around the idea, I would call up my wall of heroes, where I would like to break it down by generation, Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, and be able to allow people to come in and identify a family member or an individual who served, that we can create a little tag for. If you're ever in the service, you remember the old chit systems? Just a little chit with that individual's name and his branch, and we can hang that so that everybody can see, the people in this county that have served. So I'm looking forward to that. Another big thing that we got that I'm working on is when the state took over the office in Oswego, we lost that connection. which was a very good one because it was in the VA clinic. Now, fortunately for us, a lot of the people that go to the state or go to Onondaga end up coming back to us because they're not completely happy with the service that they receive. There was an offered, there's a location in Oswego. The county just purchased a building, I understand, the Oswego County Business Expansion Center. So I'm trying to work out a way to get in that building, to have a piece of that building. Right now it's empty. The only people moving in is mobility management. And Heather actually came to me and asked if we could move back to that building with her. I would love to be there. But at the same time, I still want to keep the Fulton office open. Because one of the biggest problems we've had in this county is reaching veteran. This is going to put us back in Oswego. It's going to give us that connection with those individuals again. And then we're still working on Costanza, Williamstown, Central Square area. So I'm looking forward to that. And eventually what I would like to do is create like a business center and a recreational type facility so that veterans can come in and we can have educational classes. One of the things when I first started working here for the first couple of years, I always said was we are not an outreach program. We didn't have the manpower, we didn't have the funding. Well, I want to change that because the programs the outreach organizations that we have, you brought this up at the last meeting, they're not the best. Some of them come and go. I know DSS deals with it all the time. Programs come in and then hit them for a while and then all of a sudden there's funding and disappear. So the more that we can provide, the more we're going to get those veterans involved. And hopefully through that system, we'll be able to get some more of these younger veterans. We're starting to see them, the younger veterans, but there's a lot more of them out there that we're just not getting our hands on. So with that new building, that's going to give me the space to do it there, and I'll have space to do it in Fulton. So as that comes together, of course, we'll work on that. As funding gets allocated, stuff like that. So that's the big thing we have coming in. Like next year is going to be a really exciting year for us.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, any questions?
No question, comment. I think for the veterans, they don't know what benefits they are. For instance, my brother had a heart problem, Vietnam veteran. He didn't realize that all that cost was covered 100%. He had 5 stents put in, and he didn't know until the judge, until committee, said, you are covered. So there's many benefits that we don't know about. And that's all veterans. Like the burn pits and everything else. Most veterans don't know anything about it, and they don't tell you.
They do not.
They won't tell you, but they keep it a secret.
And that's going to be the benefit of the recreational center, because it's going to give us that area to hold those. I've been working, trying to get the legions and stuff to let me come in, because we did it at Central Square. And I went in on a Saturday morning and I gave a spiel. I think it was about the PACT Act. We talked about PACT Act. We talked about burial benefits. We talked about, and I ended up, after it was over, another 2 hours of just answering questions because these people just didn't know what was out there, which drove me to figure out the legacy book that we created that we're now handing out to veterans so that when the end does come, their family's not restrained. In that case, example would be if that individual is deceased and he passes away from a service-connected disability, there are benefits for their spouse. There are benefits for if they had children, that are under a certain age. There's benefits out there, and these veterans have no clue. Gary Viscafi is the commander for the county, and him and I talk all the time, and I was on the phone with him last week, and I told him, I said, I've come to the meetings, I told your commanders, call me. I will go any Saturday. Any day you have available, call me, let me know. I or one of my guys will show up, we'll bring everything, and they're not calling. They're not setting those times up. So this way I could set it up, and put it out there and say, hey, come to us. And we'll be able
Officer DeAndrea.
Okay. So I passed out just a little bit of information. We are beginning our evidence-based health promotion program, Powerful Tools for Caregivers, starting tomorrow. It's a 6-week class. And then we have 2 other evidence-based 6-week programs that we're hosting. We won't be leading those, but we'll be hosting them, stepping on that the health department leads to educate our seniors about, exercises for falls prevention, and as we age, medications that you take, how they can affect your balance, physical therapy. A physical therapist comes in and talks about it, as well as an eye professional to talk about how as you age, your vision changes and how that can affect your stability as well. And then we're also working with the Suicide Prevention Coalition for another WISE program, which is Wellness Initiative for Senior Education. Again, in the program celebrating healthy aging and educating adults that safe medication use and the aging process. Those are great. We haven't done a lot of advertising on our space. We're very happy to be in it. Anybody who's there today for government, you know that we still struggle in our space with the doors, the locking mechanisms, as well as the building is not labeled. So we haven't done a lot of promotion on any other programs in there. There are individual workshops that we should promote because it's hard for somebody to come in the health department building and walk down into our space for an elderly person that may have disabilities or breathing issues. And the others are locked. Open enrollment for Medicare opens in a couple of weeks. We're insurance counselors. Most of the counseling will be in our office, but we are looking to have 2 locations to assist people who can't into the suite to access that. November is National Caregivers Month, and that's November 6th. We will have our caregiver luncheon and inviting our caregivers that are currently enrolled in our Powerful Tools coming to our caregiver support group meetings, as well as those who participate in respite. We invite them to a caregiver luncheon and have someone from the Alzheimer's Association to come in and speak on information that's pertinent, as well as we're looking to get someone in to do some chair massages with caregivers. Being a caregiver is a tough job. Our Santa for Seniors, the notification went out, or the press release went out on Friday. Officially, we open on October 1st, so we're taking applications for those who are seeking a Santa, who would like to be adopted, or someone wants to nominate someone to be adopted, as well as people who want to adopt a senior for this year's program. Jumping back to HEAP as of Friday, we had received 110 early outreach applications in our office. And I don't have the number of how many have been processed and sent on to social services, but we keep plugging away. HEAP officially doesn't open until November 3rd, so no new applications are being processed or coming in, but these are just seniors or the disabled who received benefit last year get an automatic application that once they complete it, it comes to us. Review it to make sure it is fully complete before it gets sent on to social services. We did receive a resignation from one of our staff members who does the review. We have 2 staff that process or work with the elderly, completing their applications, and then it goes through an internal OFA review before it goes to social services. And the person who does the review has taken a position outside of the county for another job, so we're in the process of starting the process to get a replacement person for that, but it just seems been nice enough to say that they'll take the applications without the OFA review until we get someone trained. The only other thing I didn't mention when I talked about the bid, Drivers Village, that's where we wanted to go with it. Said it in the paperwork, but I didn't verbally say it. It's Drivers Village, we're recommending the better for that.
Any questions? Okay. Then I will take the appropriate motion.
Motion adjourned.
And second? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.